Okay, it's 3:02, so I think we'll get started. So, welcome to the Consultants Clinic. I'm Steve Gillard, head of CSU. I'm joined on the stage today by Hazel Sanchez, who is also in CSU, and also by two trainers from the IT department, who are Tina de la Peña and Angie Ignacio. So we've just got two items on the agenda today, and there should be some time for questions at the end. The main part of the session is to look at the consultant management system, which we also refer to as CMS. Use of CMS is basically absolutely necessary for applying for all ADB funded contracts, whether it be borrower or ADB administered. CMS is a comprehensive procurement tool, and consultants use it for finding and applying for opportunities, registering for alerts, and all stages of the bidding process. But CMS is actually a very old system. It's coming up to being 20 years old now. It's not always perhaps as intuitive or easy to use as it could be. And from our point of view, it's been difficult to update it or to do some of the improvements which we would like to do to really be modern and cutting edge in how we do procurement. And we also, of course, have a lot of issues with CMS and how it interacts with our various other systems, as you can imagine. With ADB, we have dozens of systems, and for instance, it struggles to talk well with the systems, particularly relating to TA, which has a lot of impact on how we do things. So to cut a long story short, we're in the early stages now of updating CMS. So before we talk about CMS as it currently is, Hazel is going to say a few words about CMS2, where we are with the project and what we hope it can achieve. Thank you. Over to Hazel.
Thank you for the introduction, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hazel Sanchez, Procurement Specialist from the Procurement Division in PPFD. Thank you for joining us today as we explore CMS2 and its promising impact on ADB's procurement processes. So let's start with the basics. What is CMS2? CMS2, or the Consultant Management System 2, is the modernization that we will be having, as Steve mentioned, to the online platform that we have for ADB administered consultancies, which we call CMS. CMS is currently handled by ADB's IT department, but for CMS2, we will have an external vendor. For this reason, CMS2 is expected to be armed from time to time with the most recent updates and upgrades in modern procurement capabilities. In CMS, we only cover and process consultancy contracts. When CMS2 goes live, it will extend beyond consultancy contracts and will likewise cover goods and non-consulting contracts under technical assistance projects. Goods and non-consulting contracts under institutional procurement, which is the procurement for ADB's day-to-day operations, will continue to be under a different platform called Coupa. In CMS, we also only provide end-to-end support for staff consultancies. With CMS2, consultancy contracts under TAs will likewise be given the end-to-end support by this one platform. Enhanced support for borrower-administered procurement of consulting services will also be available under CMS2. By borrower-administered procurement here, we are referring to the loans and the grants from ADB, where the procurement of consulting contracts are delegated back to ADB. The advertisement and submission of proposals and expressions of interest will now be done online under CMS2, and a simpler and easier version will be incorporated to facilitate a smoother and faster process. From the consultant's perspective, here's what you can expect. First, you can expect a simplified onboarding process for consultants, service providers, and suppliers, making it easier for you to get started and participate in ADB projects. Once it's fully operational, you will only need one registration should you simultaneously want to submit proposals for consulting, non-consulting, or goods contracts. For consultants who are already registered in CMS, the migration of your information will be done by ADB. A single sign-on will also be implemented during the transition phase, which would enable registered users to access both CMS and CMS2 by logging only once in either platform. Second, we are also aiming to enhance the user experience in navigating CMS2 in its totality, taking into account the usual feedbacks received from consultants. Our implementation partner is deeply committed to leveraging artificial intelligence, or AI, modernization, and continuous innovation. As a result, we anticipate that the most current procurement functionalities and enhancements will be seamlessly integrated into the system throughout the implementation process. CMS2 will be user-centric, placing your experience at the forefront of every interaction. The aim is to significantly reduce the number of how-to queries from users, which are currently averaging at 1,000 a month. Third, everyone can expect end-to-end digital workflow. As I mentioned earlier, for now, the end-to-end digital workflow is only done for staff consultancies in CMS. Under CMS2, this end-to-end digital workflow will now also apply to TAs. So for those who have or will have simultaneous contracts with ADB under TAs and staff consultancies, or those who will likewise provide non-consulting services or goods aside from being a consultant, a unified access and visibility of your ADB-administered contracts will be available at the tip of your fingertips under CMS2. Finally, consultants can expect faster contract life cycle management. Contracts awards and contracts administration are expected to move faster from initiation to completion. With these features, the following benefits can be enjoyed by the consultants. First, a streamlined bidding and award processes, making it easier for everyone to register, participate, and win contracts. There will be a more efficient and effective onboarding for first-time registrants. You'll also benefit from real-time contract tracking, so you always know where things stand regardless of whether you are a consultant, a service provider, or a supplier in TAs, simply by logging into your account. Payment visibility is likewise provided, reducing uncertainty and delays. And contract administration will be done more efficiently and effectively. This would include processing contract variations, which for TAs are now done offline and take so much time to process. Under CMS2, all of these will be done online. What used to be done in weeks are expected to be done from a couple to a few days under CMS2. The rollout of CMS2 will be done in 3 phases. Phase 1 will cover ADB's procurement of goods and non-consulting services under technical assistance projects. It must be emphasized that this is only for the goods and non-consulting in the TA projects. This is not inclusive of institutional procurement or borrower-administered procurement of goods and non-consulting services. Phase 2 will cover the ADB-administered procurement of consulting firms, ensuring comprehensive coverage from consultant registration up to performance management and completion of contract. The final phase will cover the ADB-administered procurement of individual consultants. It will also include the partial sourcing from advertisement up to the start of negotiations for selections under loans and grants that are delegated to ADB. These features translate into real benefits for everyone involved in the procurement process. So to wrap up, these are the timelines. The rollout of the first phase is targeted to be on May 2026. The second phase is expected to go live on February 2027, and the third and final phase will be on January 2028. In summary, CMS2 is not just a system upgrade. It is a strategic leap forward. It addresses the legacy challenges of CMS1 and introduces a modern, inclusive, and efficient platform that will empower consultants, suppliers, and service providers to engage with ADB more effectively than ever before. So that concludes our overview of CMS2. If you have any questions or need further information, please feel free to reach out to me at mhsanchez@adb.org. Thank you everyone for your attention. I now turn you over to my expert colleagues from ITD, Ms. Angie and Ms. Tina, who will help you navigate through CMS.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to ADB BOF 2025. My name is Angie Ignacio. I am from Information Technology Department. With me is my colleague, Tina De La Peña. We are always excited to present to you guys the consultant management system. I know what Ms. Hazel has discussed made you feel excited. While we're waiting for CMS2, let us walk you through and give you tips and best practices on how you can register, and how you can find opportunities in our CMS that we are using right now, right? So let me take you to the agenda. Hello. This is what happens when it's live. I think this is a sign we need to have CMS2. Whoop. I think you need to memorize my face here since my hair is still back and now it's white and it's not really working. Anyway, what we will be discussing today is first we will walk you through how you can access CMS. This is the CMS login page. And after that, when you know how to log into CMS, next thing that you need to know is how to register, right? Are all of you registered in CMS? Yeah, who? And who are new in CMS? No registration yet? Okay, we still have a lot of newbies here, and I hope you learn how to register. And, oops. This is Murphy's Law, no? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Let me just, come on, work with me. Okay, there we go. Okay, here's our agenda. We're back on track. Okay, now we will have the login screen. We will teach you how to register and affiliate your profile in the consulting firms. And of course, important, how to enter payment information, because all of us want to get paid, right? And when we have already registered, we should be excited how to look for an opportunity in CMS and how to submit our expression of interest. And in case you get lost, you wanted to find some reading materials, how to navigate, we will also show you the reference materials and support. Okay? So, since I already introduced you to our agenda for today, let me call my very nervous partner here, Ms. Tina de la Peña, to discuss how to navigate the login screen.
All
Tina?
right. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear me clearly? All right. Thank you for the confirmation. You know that line is usually mentioned during online session, right? Are you able to hear me clearly? Can you see my screen? So now we are able to see the screen, thankfully, thanks to the IT guys back there. Let me just, before I begin, let me ask you, who was here last year for the 12th Business Opportunities Fair? Can I see a show of hands, please? All right, thank you guys from our colleagues from PPFD. How about the vendors or the consultants who was here or your first time to participate in the Business Opportunities Fair? All right, thank you. Wow, we have a lot of newbies. Welcome to the Business Opportunities Fair. Like what is mentioned during flight, right? So if you are joining the consultants clinic, you are in the right place. So hopefully you'll be able to navigate the login screen and show you how to successfully register. I'm holding it backwards, that's why it's going backwards. I can do this. Okay, so first and foremost, before you are able to register, you have to, of course, open your browser, and in your browser type cms.adb.org, which will bring you to the CMS homepage. In the CMS homepage, at the top right section, you have the navigation buttons or navigation links. And then if you are already registered, simply click on the orange button, which says consultant/EA. I saw a lot of hands go up that are not registered yet. We'll be going through that. If you are not registered yet in CMS, simply click on the yellow link which indicates register here. And then at the top section of the CMS homepage, we also have the advisory section. So you will be notified if CMS will have a downtime or maybe some maintenance activities. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so if you are already registered, click on the consultant/EA button, which will bring you to this screen. Please don't get confused because there are many items listed in the screen. Simply click on the green button at the far left right side of the screen, and then it will take you to the CMS login page where you can provide your CMS username and your password. Take note that the CMS username is the email address that you used during registration, which we will be going through later. If, for example, you were here last year and you registered during the Business Opportunities Fair and unfortunately forgot your password, all you need to do is click on the Forgot Password link, which is indicated just below the login button, and then it will forward or send an email to your registered email address, and you will be able to reset your password and hopefully be able to successfully access your CMS account.
All right, so now let's go to the CMS registration. Once again, to be able to display the CMS homepage, simply open your browser and type cms.adb.org and then click on register here if you don't have an account yet. It will take you to this screen where you can select to register as an individual consultant or as a consulting firm. And then just below that, you will be able to see the sort of qualifications to be able to register as an individual or as a consulting firm. The first one is you need to be a citizen of an ADB member country, and your consulting firm should also be incorporated or legally established in an ADB member country. All right, so first let's go through the registration for an individual consultant. When you click on that, okay, so before I show you the screen, some registration tips. The first one is please note all the required fields that are marked with asterisk. And then secondly, once you have noted all the required fields, ensure that the information are ready and at hand before starting the registration process, which brings us to the third tip, because kindly complete your registration within 15 minutes to avoid losing entered information. Okay, so first, take note of all the required fields, so you will be able to take note of the information that you need before doing the actual registration, which we highly recommend to start to complete within 15 minutes. Okay, so this one is the individual basic information. For the first one, kindly provide your last name, of course, your last name and your first name, and then the basic information, the date of birth, your country of birth, your citizenship, and a government-issued ID. And then when you scroll down, it will take you to this screen. All the information that you need here are required, so kindly read the fields carefully and then provide your appropriate responses. And then when you continue to scroll down, I'm not sure if you're able to see, but at the top section, the fields of specialization, the expertise field is required. But you don't need to indicate all or input all your expertise during the simplified registration process, but you need to provide at least one, because you will not be able to proceed with the registration if you do not provide at least one expertise. And then at the bottom section, the contact details, so kindly provide your address. And then what is important to note here is the email address, because this one will be your CMS username. So just make sure that you are able to open and access the email address that you will be indicating here. Okay, so after that, you can click on continue to proceed to the next stage or to proceed with a simplified registration, which is the individual attachments and certification. If you will notice at the top section, we have two buttons, or we have the basic information and the attachments and certification. So these are what is required, the minimum requirements for you to be able to complete your CMS registration. So in the attachments and certification section, you can provide any supporting documents to tell us more about maybe your credentials. And then when you scroll down, all right, so in this section, please remember to read the certification, check the box, and then click on the submit button. After successfully clicking on the submit button, you will receive, I think, a screen prompt, a notification that you have successfully completed your registration. And then an email address, an email will be sent to the email that you used during the registration, where you will be provided your CMS username and your temporary password. All right, so that's it for individual consultant registration. Now we go to the firm. If you are a consulting firm representative, then you can register your firm. But kindly note, we have here at top section the important box. So just to give you some inside information. there are people who painstakingly read and modify or edit those tip boxes. So please utilize those information or read the boxes or the tips, so because it provides great information, right? Like in this case, at the top section it states that if you know your consulting entity is a registered CMS consultant but are unsure or have lost your firm's account details, email your firm and other details to cmsregister@adb.org. Please refrain from creating a new CMS account in this case. All right? So please, if you know that your firm is already registered, but you have maybe the person who registered your firm is no longer with your organization or your firm, so to make sure, please email your firm name and other details to CMS Register. All right, so but if you're sure that your firm is not registered yet, then you can continue with the registration process. You need to provide your firm or organization name and the details and the overall narrative description of your firm or organization. All right, so this section, similar with the individual consultant, kindly provide the basic or the organization information in this section. Read carefully and then select the appropriate responses that is applicable to your organization or consulting firm. And then in this section, kindly provide the address and then once again, the user account details. So just make sure that you are, once again, let me reiterate that, make sure that the email address that you will be using during the registration, you are able to open and access because the login information will be sent to that email address. And then also you need to provide the title, your last name and first name, and your position in the organization or firm. And then you can proceed to continue and then attach any supporting documents for your firm. And then also we have the certification. So just make sure that you check and then indicate your name and position in the organization before you click on submit. Okay, so that's it for after completing your registration. I mentioned earlier that you will receive an email where you will be provided your CMS account details, right? And then after successfully logging in, here are some tips. Kindly provide or complete your profile information because first, you can select information to be highlighted in your EOI or expression of interest. And then secondly, your CMS profile can be used as your CV if you're an individual consultant or your company information. And then lastly, any ADB staff can search for specific registered consultants in the CMS database. All right, so how do you complete your profile? When you are able to successfully log in, register first, of course, and then successfully log into your CMS account, the first screen that you will see is the dashboard. Simply click the next tab, which is the profile tab, and then complete the information or the details. All right, so the next topic is affiliation. There are CMS account affiliations. A consulting firm can initiate the affiliation request to an individual consultant, or the individual consultant can likewise request an affiliation with the consulting firm. And then lastly, a firm can be affiliated with another firm. We will not be going through each of the screens, but I will show you the first one, which is when a consulting firm initiates the affiliation request with an individual consultant. All right, so upon logging in, under the Profile tab, simply go or scroll to the Key Expert section, and then you will see here, again, this is the login of a consulting firm, right? So they will go to the Key Expert and then click on the Add Key Expert button, and they will be taken to this screen where they need to provide a CMS number, the last name and the first name of the consultant, and the country of birth. Just make sure that you have the information details correct. Otherwise, the individual consultant will not receive the affiliation request. All right? So just make sure you have all the information typed correctly. And then once done, click on OK. And then the individual consultant will receive a notification of the affiliation request, and they will see this one in their dashboard, where they can click on the Go to Task icon, and this screen will be displayed where they can either confirm or decline the affiliation request. Okay, so the next one is an individual consultant with a consulting firm. So for individual consultants, they can also initiate the request under their profile. They can click on the consultant details, and then as you can see here, there's a cut because it's a long form, especially if you have already completed the profile. And then at the bottom, under company affiliations, you have there, add company affiliation. They can click on that, and similar with the consulting firm, they can provide the important or pertinent details, make sure all the details are correct for the firm to receive the affiliation request. All right, so let me fast track this one because it's the same process. You have to complete all the details correctly. So now let's proceed to the payment information. This is important because, of course, who doesn't want to get paid after doing their work, right? So you need to provide your payment information in CMS. Once again, click on or log into your CMS account, and then under the profile screen, we have the payment information section, and then click on the add payment information. If you can see in the screen, since this is just a dummy account or dummy data, I already have there 2 payment information. But in your case, if you will be doing if you just registered, so the table here at the bottom will be blank. So just simply click on the add payment information, where you will be taken to this screen. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, please read the instructions carefully. And then after going through the instruction, at the bottom part, we have there that you have carefully reviewed. Check that box, and then click on next to proceed to payment information step 1. Under payment information step 1, the first field there is payment currency. The payment currency is the currency that you want to be paid in. For example, I want to be paid in US dollar, so the payment currency that I will select here is USD. And then the next 2 fields is your account number and your account name. Just take note that kindly provide, if you are an individual consultant, kindly provide your personal account. ADB does not accept third-party accounts. So kindly provide your account name, and this should be similar with the consultant name that you have indicated in your profile, because it indicates that this is your personal account. Of course, the bank account name is also the name that you have given your beneficiary bank or your bank. And then kindly, the next section is the account owner address. Kindly complete the information. Take note that the fields marked with asterisk is the town or city and the country. So after completing payment information step 1, click on next to proceed to step 2, which is beneficiary bank. Under beneficiary bank, we have a button there, find your bank, which will open this screen. In this screen, the first thing you need to do is, under bank country field, select the country where your bank is located. When you click on go, what will happen is at the bottom section, the table here will display all the banks that are, of course, in the CMS database that are located in that country. To filter your search results or to narrow down, you can provide maybe your bank name or SWIFT. These are search parameters. You don't have or you don't need to provide all the information in this field. Just maybe maybe type in your bank name like Citibank, and then click on Go, and it will be displayed at the bottom section. All right. So after finding or locating your bank, click on the quick select button, and then it will be displayed under step 2. And then the next step, step 3, is the intermediary bank. Under intermediary bank, how many of you are familiar with intermediary banks? All right, I see a few hands up. Thank you for that. Intermediary bank, for those who are not aware, are needed for, maybe it's better if we read the first sentence at the top. For international transactions, when ADB or other banking institutions don't have a direct relationship with your bank, an intermediary bank, also known as correspondent bank, is necessary to facilitate the transfer. So simply put, maybe I can show this tip. Kindly provide your intermediary bank. You need it to avoid unapplied payments, delays, and unnecessary transaction fees. All right, so in the yellow box, it's quite long, but simply put, an intermediary bank is required when the currency referred to in your payment instruction is not the local currency where your bank is located. In my case, this one, it is ticked as no, right? Because in my example, the currency that I have selected is USD, and the bank is located also in United States, which is why in this instance, the intermediary bank is not needed. But you will need to provide an intermediary bank if your bank's currency, if your bank is located and the local currency is not the one that you have selected in step 1. Maybe to simplify things, it is best if you would consult your bank regarding what information to put in the intermediary bank section in case you would need it. Just take note that kindly refer to a bank staff who handles international transfers. All right, so after the intermediary bank, the next section is the attachments. Just provide documents to verify the ownership of the bank account. Kindly provide maybe your bank statement, but you don't need to show of course, the balance. And then after that, the last step for payment information is the review and submit. So in this section or in this step, just kindly review all the inputted payment information details before clicking on the submit button to ensure that you have accurately, of course, inputted especially the account number, your account details, and you have selected the correct bank. I think that's it for me. Let me turn you over again to Angie to discuss the consulting opportunities and sending off expressions of interest.
I'm not sure if I am the one nervous, or is it Tina? Tina comes out naturally, discussing these matters. Okay, consulting opportunities. If you are already registered, what do you want to do next? Get an opportunity that matches your expertise, right? You want to check out what are the opportunities advertised in CMS, in CSRN. Okay. So we have 4 ways of checking the opportunities advertised in CMS. First is typing csrn.adb.org in your browser. You don't need to be registered here. You can browse it. Next is cms.adb.org. This is the login page that Tina showed you. We have a way to check out the opportunities on that page. The last 2 bullets, you need to be registered because on the 3rd bullet, opportunities tab in CMS, you need to log into CMS to click on the Opportunities tab. And if you are registered, you are going to receive the weekly CSRN email notification, which also have all the opportunities, right? Now, let's go deeper. If you go to csrn.adb.org, this is what you're going to see. We have search filters. We have our search filters. You can refine the opportunities that you will see on this side. If you want to filter it because you are an individual consultant, put a tick mark on the individual, and all that you will see here are opportunities for individual. If you're a firm, just click on the firm, okay? And then that's what you will see here. Now, on the right side, the results area, what you see are the project links and the expertise, consultant type, engagement period, the published date, and the deadline. This deadline is always in Manila local time. Okay? So you also have your View CSRN icon. If you want to check the details in the project data sheet, you can click this link under the projects column, and you will be navigated to the project datasheet in adb.org. If you want to check the details of this advertisement, you can click the View CSRN icon. Another way of viewing the opportunities without registering is typing cms.adb.org in your browser, and this is what you will see. On the upper right section of your screen, you will see the consulting opportunities, and this same page will be displayed. Okay? The next option is you have to log into CMS. Now we are registered. We have our opportunities tab in the system. We also have our filters. This is our search parameters. If you want a country, maybe Philippines, you can search it and then just click go. All of the advertisements, all of the opportunities will be displayed on the results section. Okay? And if you are registered, this is the notification that you will receive containing all the opportunities in CSRN, in CMS. Now, if we click on the CSRN icon, this is what we're going to see. You will see your profile, terms of reference, and cost estimates. This will give you an idea what the team is looking for. The consultant type, selection method, consulting services budget, when will be the commencement, the additional information, and the contact information. To know more, what are the expertise or what is being required by the project manager, you go to the terms of reference. Okay, so from there, you have an idea, oh, this project needs a change manager. I think my qualification is fitted for this opportunity. Now, next thing that you're going to do is to click on the cost estimate to check the estimate budget for this advertisement. In the Opportunities tab, let's say you are interested in here. You are interested in this advertisement. Next thing that you're going to do is to click the express interest. I'm interested. I am a change manager. I am going to express interest. When I click that, this is what I'm going to see. This is the EOI screen, or expression of interest screen for firms. So what you will see, on here, you have a joint venture or sub-consultant entities, you can click Add. If you have a sub-entity, click it. And be sure that you have a documentation attached in the system about the corporate structure and the board of directors. Take note, in CMS, we have a lot of tips, just like this one. This EOI will be submitted by the lead entity and must clearly identify each joint venture, partner, and or sub-consultant entity. To identify a JV partner, add the entity, and check the joint venture box to identify a sub-consultant entity, add the entity, but leave the joint venture checkbox unchecked. So we have a lot. This will guide you through submitting your expression of interest. Once you have added your entity, the next thing that you need to do is to fill up the assignment specific qualifications. So you have to put your technical competence, your geographical experience, the management competence. Take note that if you are doing your management competence, please answer each question or paragraph in 3 to 5 sentences. Okay? This information will help our project manager evaluate and maybe shortlist your firm in this offering. Remember, Tina advised or mentioned about the expertise. You have to put your expertise, you have to put your projects in your profile. This is where you're going to use it. You need to add your projects that you worked on for reference of our project manager for their evaluation. Okay, so you click this Add Project button. This is what you're going to see. All the project information that you added on your profile. Now, we have a lot. I have a lot of experience. Your company have a lot of experience because you worked for so many projects for so many years. So, to satisfy what's in the terms of reference, select one or more projects that you work on to. You can review the details of the project by clicking the Details button. When you click the Details button, this is what you're going to see. And if you think this will help the project manager in considering your expression of interest for the project, just click on Close, and then take the Select box so that it will be included in your expression of interest. Tip: choose project involvement that are most relevant to the published consulting opportunities, because this will have more impact on the reviewers. So here, if you have experts, of course, if you're a firm, you have experts, right? So you have to click this, Add Expert. Be sure that the expert is affiliated in your firm. And we also have our attach any relevant documents, maybe certification or other documents that will support the expression of interest. So the usual add attachment section, you have your attachment summary, put the title, a short description, and then upload your file on this choose file section. Okay, and then don't forget to click the apply button. These are the eligibility declaration. So you need to read each one of this, okay, and take the appropriate responses in the eligibility declaration, then submit the EOI to be evaluated. When you click submit, what will happen is you will see the status, it is being evaluated, and then the date that you submitted the EOI and the time. If you have a lot of EOIs, if you want to submit a lot of EOIs in a lot of opportunities because your expertise matches a lot of these opportunities, you can reuse similar EOI so that you don't have to repeat everything. When you click Reuse EOI, this is the screen having all the EOIs that you submitted. This is a template. So you can select previously submitted EOI, and then you will see this warning. Do not be afraid. This warning. But when I see it, I feel afraid, no? If I'm a first-timer submitting. Warning, the action will overwrite existing data in your EOI and cannot be undone. Proceed to reuse EOI. Just reuse. The EOIs that you submitted is just a template. What you have submitted to the project manager will not be updated. This, what you have submitted before, becomes one of the EOIs template. So you can click yes, and then you will reuse the same EOIs, a little bit, maybe a little adjustment to select more projects to support your EOI. When you submit your EOI, what do you want to know next? After a few days, you want to know the status. Tina, I call her Tita Tens, you know. We've been working for so many years already. We have a very good tip for this, right? Because we usually get this when we are still in the application support. We usually get the question, we have a lot of opportunities. How are we going to check the status of what we have submitted?
All right, so thank you, Angie. I'm not sure, but for the Filipinos that are present here, tita means we're already in the age range where a lot of people are younger than us. So anyway, so just a tip for those who want to check the submitted EOIs, remember Angie already mentioned that the opportunities tab will list all the available opportunities that are published in CMS. So what you need to do, if you already submitted a lot of expression of interest and you want to check only those where you have submitted your EOI to, then what you can do, we have a field here, not sure if it can be seen at the back. We have a submission status checkbox, and two fields are available. We have the checkbox for not submitted and submitted. By default, these checkboxes are both ticked. All right, so if you want to check only those where you have submitted your expression of interest, just simply remove the tick mark in the not submitted status. Just check the submitted and then click on the go button, and the search results at the bottom will only display the projects where you have submitted your EOI to. All right, so I hope that's a good tip for us.
Thank you. Okay, so to check your EOI remarks, remember the tip, and it is here. The EOI status is in the remarks column. Okay, so for references, in case you wanted to find or search for help, this is where you're going to take an advantage of the online references. We have learning videos, we have quick reference guides. This is in the consultanttutor.adb.org. This is already arranged. The first section will be about the login, assistance in CMS basics. And we have the section for individual and then the consulting firm. You also see this information if you are registered in CMS. It is on your dashboard on the right side of the screen, the quick reference guides. Okay, we're open for Q&A. Steve, over to you.
Yes, okay, good, thank you. Okay, thank you, Angie and Tina. We had a few questions coming in on the Events app. Thank you for the people who submitted them. We've only got about 3 or 4 minutes left, so I'm just going to answer them quickly. I've got some of my team here who are watching me to see if I make a mistake, so they'll shout out if I get the answer wrong. So I'll just read the questions out. I'm an individual consultant working under my company. Which road should I use, individual or consultant? The bank account is under my company. Well, if you're an individual, you can apply either as a private individual or as an individual through a firm. So I think if your normal way of doing business is to apply through your firm, then that's what you should do. I think that's fairly straightforward. I'm going to answer another one which is kind of related to this next. Should individual consultants working under their own firm, under their sole proprietorship firm, use their personal saving bank account or use their firm's current account? I think the answer to this is that they can use either. Am I correct? I'm getting a vague nod from the person who knows better than me, so I'm going to give myself a tick for that one. So yes, they can use either. I think normally we want the bank account to be identifiable for audit purposes. So if you're trading, for instance, under your name or your surname or something and use your bank account, then I think that's normally going to be acceptable. Another question, someone's apologized, sorry, newbie question, that's fine. Since I don't know if the company is already registered in CMS, if already invited to participate in a bidding, does that mean that our company is already registered in CMS? Well, normally when you're applying, you would do it in response to an advertisement. You wouldn't be asked as such to bid. There would be a request for expressions of interest, and you could choose to bid or not. You may be asked after an expression of interest is put out. So let's say we have a niche assignment and one of our departments wants to find interested consultants. They may approach consultants and say, you know, we understand your reputation, we think you might be interested, please feel free to apply. In those circumstances, you may or you may not have an account already. Sometimes for firms, one particular person opens an account and it's using their email address, and then another person may not have access to that account. So we would generally recommend that a company has a centralized user that the other members of the company who are interested or involved in bids would know about, so that all bids could be channeled through that person. So unfortunately, sometimes you may have to open another account if perhaps the person has moved on or something like this. Next question. If a firm applies for a project and they have experts in-house, do they still need to put expert names in the expert affiliation in the EOI form? I believe the answer to that is no. I think if they're actually experts of the firm, they're not considered affiliates, they're kind of part of the firm. Affiliates is more for people who have a looser connection with the firm, such as people, experts that they subcontract occasionally, or other firms that they affiliate with. Anything to add or correct on anything I've said? Anyone? Yeah, anything to add? No, we good? Okay, so that's the, oh, we got another question now, how exciting. How do I ask for feedback on EOI I have not qualified? You can ask, but it's not our policy to give feedback on unsuccessful expressions of interest. We don't have the capacity to do it. We sometimes get dozens or hundreds of expressions of interest for each assignment, so we don't give feedback. If you've done a proposal, if you've submitted a proposal which is unsuccessful, you're entitled to feedback, because obviously proposals are, take a lot of time and resources to prepare, whereas EOIs are, shorter, less formal documents. That's the reason behind that. Okay, so that's the 5 questions that we've received. We're past the time now. If anyone's got any question, they can still submit it and we'll answer it in due course. Okay, so we got another question saying, is the consultant allowed to publish in professional social media that they're a verified consultant of ADB? Well, you can make it public that you've got awards. I'm not sure So yeah, you can say that you've had awards. I'm not sure that we would necessarily say you're a verified consultant. I'm not sure what that would mean. We do have certain panels or frameworks which we operate, and these are people that are pre-qualified. In a sense, I guess they're kind of verified because they're put on the panel, but to have got one consultant 10 years ago doesn't mean that you're a verified consultant. I think we'll leave it there because people are coming in for the next session. So if you want to keep asking questions on this channel, we'll address it. So thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you very much.